We're going to be configuring email for our network today. In order to do that, we're going to use two protocols, SMTP and either POP3 or IMAP4. If you'd like to follow along with me during the demonstration, you'll want to use file 6.3 SMTP, which is a packet tracer demonstration file. To configure email on a network, you need two protocols. The first protocol is SMTP, stands for Simple Mail Transfer Protocol. The second protocol is either POP3 or IMAP4. Those two protocols are known as mail retrieval protocols. SMTP actually transfers our email from client to server. So what it does is it sends outgoing emails. SMTP is a connection-oriented protocol, which means it uses TCP. It lives at layer 7 of the OSI model, and it uses port 25. POP3 and IMAP4 are both mail retrieval protocols. The clients use POP3 or IMAP4 to retrieve their email from the email server. Both these protocols use TCP. They both live at layer 7 of the OSI model. POP3 uses port 110 and IMAP4 uses port 143. So what's the difference between POP3 and IMAP4? Let's take a look at that. POP3 I consider a predecessor to IMAP4. When emails are downloaded, they're downloaded to the client, but they're only downloaded to the one client. So you can't move from device to device to look at the same email or look at any changes you've made from the original device. However, you can look at the emails offline because once they're downloaded, they remain on the device that you downloaded the files to. Emails are not synced across devices with POP3. IMAP4, however, emails are stored on the server in the cloud. Internet access is required, and the emails are synced for any device because they live in the cloud. So any changes you make on the program will remain in the cloud, and you can access those emails from anywhere. So if you're ready, let's take a look at email and configuring it using our packet tracer demo. As you can see, I've already set up the network for us to use. All devices are addressed and all connections are made. I even pinged from source to destination to make sure we have connectivity. So now what we can do is go ahead and configure the email server. The email server is located to the right side of the network, and it's called Gmail email server, and I've assigned an IP address of 192.168.1.2 to the server. We're going to click on it right now, and we're going to go to services, and you'll notice that this server can use any of these protocols to the left. We're going to click on email, and the first thing you should notice is that right away we have SMTP service already on, and Packet Tracer uses POP3, not IMAP4, and it's already on. So the first configuration we're going to make is to create the domain name. I'm going to click on domain name, and we're going to call this domain gmail.com and click set. Now we're going to create some users to use Gmail. So let's create the first user, user1, and let's assign a password of user1. And we're going to click the plus sign to add that user. We want to test this from source to destination, so we're going to have a destination of user2. Password of user2. And click plus again. And believe it or not, we're done configuring email on this server. Of course, this is a very basic example. which is why we only have 2 users, and it's so easy to configure. Let's go ahead and configure our client stations now. On the other end of the network, we have user 1, and that IP address is 10.0.0.2, which is already there. So I'm going to click on the workstation. I'm going to click on desktop and go down to email. The next thing I'm going to do is configure the email. So I'm going to say that this is my workstation. I'll type in my name as the username, Jenny, and then I'm going to be user 1 that we just created on the email server. So I'll use user1@gmail.com. And now we have to type in the incoming and outgoing mail server. Well, they happen to be one and the same here. So I'm going to use 192.168.1.2 as incoming, and 192.168.1.2 is outgoing. That leaves me with the username, which we already created, is user1, and the password for user1 is user1. And then I'm going to save it. And we have just configured the first client. Let's go ahead and configure the second client. Click on it, desktop, go to email. And we have to think of a name for the second person, and I'll just say Jane. The email address, if you remember what we configured, it was user2@gmail.com. Ingoing and outgoing servers are the same, 192.168.1.2. And for username here, we're going to use user2. And the password will be user2. And we're going to save it. So that now that we have 2 clients configured, let's go ahead and test it. We're going to click on Compose, and user2 can send an email to user1. So I'll type in user1's email address here, user1@gmail.com. And let's make the subject test. And let's make the body test. And then we're going to hit send. Okay, right away you should see, let me bring this back up. Right away you should see at the bottom of your screen that the email was successfully sent. So let's go check it out at user1 just to make sure. I'm going to click on user1, and I'm going to go to email, and this time I'm going to click on receive. And you'll notice there's the email received from user2. I click on it, and there's my email. It's from user2. The subject line is test, and the body of the letter of the email is test. So it was successful. Now that we've configured the email server as well as the clients, let's go ahead and see the SMTP protocol and POP3 protocol at work behind the scenes. In order to do that, I'm going to click on user1. I'm going to compose an email. Right now, we already have one composed, test2. I'll make this test3. And then in the text, we'll have test3. And I'll hit send. You can see that my window says the email was sent successfully. I'm going to minimize that email. And now I've got simulation highlighted on Packet Tracer. I'm going to hit play on the simulation. And you can see user1 is using the SMT protocol right now to send that email to the Gmail server. And the Gmail server received the email. Now that we've done that, let's go ahead and reset the simulation, and let's watch POP3 in action. To do that, I'm going to go to user2. I'm going to click on receive. There's that second email we just sent. And I'm going to minimize that window and go ahead and hit play on the simulation now so we can see POP3. The client's going to be requesting that or downloading that email from the Gmail server. You can see POP3 is going from user 2 to the Gmail server, requesting the email, and the server is sending the email to user 2. And you can see it's using the POP3 protocol.